Moments ago, the House passing a stopgap measure to avert a government shutdown.
On this vote, the yeas are 320, the nays are 99. Two-thirds being in the affirmative, the rules are suspended, the bill is passed, and without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
The House voting 320 to 99 in bipartisan fashion to approve the short-term continuing resolution, now pushing funding deadlines back slightly to March 8th and March 22nd. Our Jay O'Brien on Capitol Hill. He followed the vote there just moments ago. Let's talk about the latest now that the House has passed this bill. What's next?
Here we go again, right, Kira? So they're kicking the can down the road yet again. The funding deadline that would have triggered a partial government shutdown was this Friday at midnight. That was for some federal agencies, not all of them. For those agencies, about more than 20% of the federal government, their funding deadline now under this new deal would get kicked to March 8th. And for the rest of the government, which includes the Department of Defense, the Department of Homeland Security, their funding deadline gets kicked to March 22nd. This still has to pass in the Senate. It passed in the House. Spare a thought for Speaker Mike Johnson, who got 90+ Republicans voting against this, but did get a majority of Republicans to vote for this. That is pretty significant for the Speaker. It now goes over to the Senate, where they've got to pass this by that Friday midnight deadline to avert that partial shutdown.
All right, so how soon can we expect the Senate to take up this bill, and is it expected to pass?
Well, what is the biggest motivating factor in the Senate, Kira? Getting out of town and going home and having a weekend. You can set your watch to it. So with all of that in mind, we're hearing that the Senate may take this up as soon as tonight. It may kick into tomorrow potentially, and you're looking at a vote early Friday and it getting enrolled and put on the president's desk for his signature before midnight. That's the timeline we're looking at now. That could get complicated if there is just one senator that objects to that expedited voting process. That could really delay this vote, push it into the weekend. We're not hearing from any senator that that may happen right now, but that is something to keep an eye on when you watch Senate procedure.
So this is another temporary stopgap bill. So why can't congressional leaders just agree to a more permanent bill?
Well, over the last few months, since they reached an agreement on another temporary bill at the beginning of this year, they've been haggling over policy riders and other policy provisions that are in these pieces of funding legislation. Remember, the federal government is funded by a series of bills. You got to pass those bills, and that funds the various agencies. We're now learning, though, that in that deal with this temporary funding measure, there was also an announcement that Senate Democrats and House Republicans have come to an agreement on at least the federal agencies and the bills for those agencies whose funding under this new deal will expire on March 8th. So what they're saying is they've come to a deal. They're going to pass those funding bills and fully fund those agencies before their funding expires under that new March 8th deadline. But Kira, they're still haggling out how they're going to tackle those other federal agencies whose funding expires on March 22nd. Those negotiations continue, and the House and the Senate are expected to go home tomorrow. Now, it doesn't mean the negotiations will stop, but it means you're still going to be watching this play out over the course of March.
All right, Jay O'Brien up on the Hill for us. Jay, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.